What is up, guys? Mcdoubles back again with a brand new episode, and today my primary goal, I think, is going to be to collect as many extraordinary spoils of war as I can. I'm thinking what we're going to do is the main level 60 content seems like it's going to be re-rolling abilities, hoping we get really good stuff to make our OP build even more OP, like Wind Fury, or it's also going to be opening these spoils of war caches and just seeing what we get, so we can have like unboxing. I'll keep all of them and we'll open them all at once. My goal is 5, and so that's what we're going to be working on throughout the course of this video, PvPing and PvEing and doing world quests and such throughout it all. We also have a PvP world quest to do Eye of the Storm, so that might be in here at some point as well. Right now, what I'm going to do, you see I'm in Winter Spring right now. I just got done with a world quest to kill the ghost guys over here by Lake Kel'Tharill, but I did already open that chest. I had this whole idea way after. I've opened quite a few. I've done quite a few things. I'm in my Griefer gear right now, with some mild REs on it. Nothing too special, and we've already gone over it, but just strong enough to do things out in the wild. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with a guildie of mine, and we're going to go to the wetlands. And at the wetlands, we can do this quest right here, Keeping Evil at Bay, Dragon Maw Gates. We have to return with 30 red dragon scales killed from these elites, and do it in high risk. We do it in high risk because then the elites have a higher chance of dropping good gear, and right now I have a chance of getting molten core gear, and that's pretty decent to get randomly just while completing a quest, and I feel pretty safe. I don't think wetlands is an honorable combat zone, but even if it is, it's whatever. That's why we have our poison set up like we do in the bag. So, yeah, next stop, the wetlands. I've been leaning towards getting enchanting. I think enchanting has a lot of capability to be one of the best professions you can even get in this game. You guys might have more knowledge of that, but from what I'm looking at, all the enchants on the auction house are worth a lot of money, and most people don't go for professions, and they don't go for professions for good reason. It's just a big, huge hassle, so most people only go for professions that they can use to abuse daily turn-ins, right? Because you can make a lot of money off of turning in, or selling rather, for example, rune cloth bandages, right, when everybody needs them, or thorium grenades, right, if you're an engineer. But it is a bit of a gruesome journey unless you play resolute mode, because you have to go back to the old zones, and no one likes doing that, and it just feels like a waste of your time. Quite honestly, it's probably pretty fast to level any profession you want fairly quickly, but again, it's that mindset thing. The biggest difference with enchanting and all those, though, is I have to find low-level pieces of gear to disenchant. That's going to be the fastest way to do it. So I think the best way to do that would be to go and run old dungeons and then take all the greens and all the blues and just sell them. There might be a more efficient way of doing this, though, because of high-risk mode. It's possible that I could go to a low-level zone in high-risk mode, farm the mobs, and get a higher chance at getting rare and uncommon loot from those mobs. I'm not sure if my higher level affects that, though. That's the main thing that I think of. I'll have to look it all up and see, because I think engineering and enchanting is a really solid skill set, albeit, you know, possibly kind of expensive to maintain or just get in general, but very, very fun and very, very profitable, and just at the end game, and just rewarding overall. So that's my goal with my professions specifically. Like I said, we're about to go to the wetlands, and the worst thing about the wetlands world quest is, first of all, it's really easy over here, and like nobody ever comes over here in the first place. But the Horde has no proper flight points. We have Hammerfall, right? And then you can fly south from Hammerfall, or rather, you can run south from Hammerfall, and then you have to run all the way down here, and then we just kill as many of these red dragons as we can. My partner, my guildie that I'm doing this with, is a fresh character, right? So he has none of the flight points, so it's even worse if you're a fresh horde. But there's a bunch of other quests that we plan to do as well, and overall I'm just really excited to open up all of these spoils of war, and hopefully we get some pretty good gear from it. So one thing I really want to do is I took a screenshot of my inventory before we started, and I'm going to obviously have a screenshot of my inventory when I am done with all 30 of my scales, so we can do a little inventory comparison, and you can get an idea of how much money you're going to make just doing one of these daily quests that requires a couple people to do. I can do it solo, but I'm having my friend come and do it with me anyway because I want to help him out, so I'm going to give him a bunch of older gear that I've got as well. But yeah, we'll see how much money can you make doing the Keeping Evil at Bay Dragon Maw Gates quest with MC Treasure Hunter. Yeah, killing level 57 to 60 Dragonkin elites. And I think that's going to be very, very interesting. So yeah, let's see what we do. And I'll catch you guys on any big drop that we get along the way. If we even do, we might not. So I changed up my build a little bit. I did allude to that in my last video. I'm not going to completely go over it at this point, but I do want to say that we are running a bleed build, a trauma bleed build, of course, with poisons as well. You can see it down there. We have Savage Combat, we have Feeding Frenzy or whatever it's called, the other 2% buff, and then we have the trauma buff. Basically just a bunch of things that increase our overall damage on targets that we bleed and poison. And then, of course, lots of damage over time as well. We took quite a beating on that fight for no reason. I think it's the commentary. So far, we haven't gotten any rares, just a few greens. The guildie did have to leave last minute, no big deal. We're 13 out of 30 Royal Red Dragon Flight Scales. And yeah, what I want to do is, I'm just going to flash my talents right here. So this is just a quick flash of what we're doing, mostly in the arms tree, a little bit in the combat tree, and of course a little bit in the assassination rogue tree. I might not need cut to the chase. Apparently you can just get an RE that refreshes your slice and dice, and so cut to the chase is apparently not that worth it, but you know, it's what we have right now. Also, I just realized this, which is kind of bad on my part, but we did actually replace Immolation Trap with Victory Rush. I thought that was a pretty decent upgrade. Victory Rush is solid for farming. It's come in handy quite a lot just doing world quests, daily quests, whatever you want to call them. And so yeah, very much enjoy that pickup. And you guys were right. A lot of you were saying, why do you emphasize Immolation Trap so much? If you look back at some of my PvP fights, I did use it quite frequently, and it did quite well. The damage is not great, but it's still damage, right? And but you were right, it's not worth keeping for no reason. So Victory Rush I thought was a pretty good upgrade, and there we go, a Tome of Shadow Ward 4, which is not worth anything. I was actually hoping it was something better. But 3 Mystic Orb Shards off these things, and that's what I've been getting quite a lot of. You can see we've gotten a decent little stack so far. We're at 19 out of 30, 11 more to go. Okay, our first rare item, which it took a long time, Bloody Gargoyle Shredder Talons. Really interesting, never even heard of this. So obviously improves resilience, chance on hit, wounds the target, causing them to bleed for a small amount, and then PvP power. This is not great, this is probably vendor trash, but perhaps I'm wrong and somebody would want this maybe starting off, maybe before they start getting the really good stuff, but I think that's just going to be like a 2 gold, 31 silver, 56 copper vendor trash type of gear. We'll have to see though. And that is 24 out of 30, and this is where we are so far. Not as good as I was hoping for, if I'm honest. I got way better drops before, and we haven't gotten a single treasure hunter drop, which is a bit of a shame. So not that this applies to me because I'm level 60 and Wetlands is like a 25 zone, 20-25 zone, but it says Dunmotor has been selected as the new hotspot. What they need to do is give it its own, something like the quest stuff here where it's blue highlight. They need to highlight it, and I would say they should highlight it either red, orange, or yellow, right? Probably not yellow because the base color for the maps seems to be like a yellowish brown, but maybe like a really good blood red. And I think that would really get people's attention and actually make people go, because I see it in the chat, but I don't know where it ends. I don't know if it's just this part of Dunmotor, or if it includes Dire Forge Hill, which in the lore is part of Dunmotor. It's part of the city. Obviously, that's kind of looking too far into it, but sometimes it applies to things like if you go to the Barrens, it was happening in the Raptor's Den, this area, but this whole area can be considered the little Raptors area, and you don't know exactly where it ends and where it stops. Plus, again, if you don't even know where the zone is, I mean, this one we're lucky it says Dunmotor, but over here when it was for the Raptors, you have no clue. You literally don't know where it is if you've never done the quest or whatever. So they should really just mark it on the map. And the reason I'm even saying that is because I know if they see this video and they hear me say that, they'll probably prioritize marking it on the map because they need to be doing shit that people want. And they do a really good job of that. If you tell them, they will do it. To me, this is such a crazy cool place. They never did anything with this whole random thing of elites. Like, in Grimbatal and in Vanilla, they didn't do anything with it till Cataclysm, and then they remade the zone out of laziness. So it's been really very interesting for me being here, and I'm actually going to keep going all the way to the original Grimbatal site, and we can see it together. Probably you guys have seen it before, but I haven't, so I'm actually excited to see what this gate is going to look like to me. And that is 30 out of 30 scales, so let's go to the gate. And while we're at the gate, we'll go ahead and look at the inventory, which is not too impressive for this daily, unfortunately. And look at this. I've never seen this before. I never took the time to come here. Even on Classic, I never took the time to come here. There's just random stuff on the ground. It's actually a fairly small... Oh. Okay, that's huge. That is fucking huge. This is so cool. It's just random. They never did anything with it. This is why Classic Plus needs to be a thing. I don't care about the modern version of it. It's trash tier. It's just a travesty that they turned Grimbatal into a heroic dungeon in Cataclysm. I mean, it's not cool. Who cares? Literally, who cares? But this stuff, this is classic. This is vanilla, right? This is homey. I know it's on the Ascension server, but you have to admit, like, it's that OG vanilla map, and quite frankly, it's gorgeous, and it just had more life to it. But I'm going to go do more dailies now. We are done. It is time to go to Booty Bay. I am going to turn this in, but we're not going to open the cash. I'm going to put that in my bank. And actually, before we go, let's go ahead and compare inventories. So what you see now is my original inventory, and what you see next to it is my current inventory. You'll see we got no epics, 1 rare, 2 uncommons, and then I don't count the Star Ruby as an uncommon, and then a bunch of vendor trash. So we're not actually going to put any of this crap on the auction house. So I'm actually going to vendor it all in Booty Bay now, and we'll see how much money I made just vendoring crap. Very, very unlucky pull from that run, unfortunately. Okay, so we are going from 5 gold, 35 silver to... Nice, actually, 25 gold, 93 silver, which is basically a 20 gold haul for like 15 minutes of my life. That's not too bad, because we're not even counting the rewards from the quest. Also, I just randomly reforged my Bloody Typhoon because I don't plan to use it long term. I don't really care too much about the RE on it right now. And I got an epic RE on it, which is pretty sick. Reduces all damage I take by 3%. That's not too bad for my farming griefer gear, so I'll definitely take that. And I just did it to get a Mystic Extract, and I got a Mystic Extract. So now I can go ahead and extract my Omen of Clarity buff, which is very nice. And there goes the altar. One thing I can also do now is extract my legendary RE off these boots that I've been using. I think it's the best one for me. My Immortal Strike will now refresh the duration of Rend, and Rend is a big portion of my PvE damage, so I'll definitely take that, but I don't want them on Savage Gladiator Greaves. These aren't terrible, but I can do better, so let's go ahead and use my extract on that instead of the Omen proc, just so I can get this out of the way. And that's it, in for the kill. We could put that on something else now if we want. Like, maybe these Bloody Boots of Valor. That's not what I'm gonna do, but I could.
No.
Okay, that mess is over with, and that's 2 out of 5 spoils of war. Let's do it. I'm going to go ahead and put my griefer gear back on, and let's go do some other stuff. Okay, the next daily in line is a threat to Azeroth. Setis, I think it's a world boss, and so, yeah, I guess that's what we're going to do now is go to Silithus. I've never done it before, but I heard it's world PvP, high risk oriented, so we got the griefer gear on, not worried about losing anything, even this. So let's do it. Alright, the boys said they found him. Let's go to Setis. So while I'm waiting for the last few people to join my group for Setis, I wanted to go over some of the changes, not all of them because this is egregious, but just two actually, in particular that are going to affect me. So first and foremost, they're introducing capstone talents. How that's going to work is there are some talents, some of them are weaker, some were too strong, so they made you have to go all the way into them to get certain effects. But they changed them to where when you put that final talent into your talent of choice, you get an additional effect. I have two good examples of these that fit both of the examples or the ways that they've changed it, the ways that they've introduced capstone talents I mentioned earlier. And that's going to be with the trauma talent. So let's see if I can find this real quick. Alright, there we go. The final rank of trauma, which we did end up getting, which is pretty cool because I didn't actually expect any kind of buff. But what trauma is going to do now is make my rend benefit from melee haste when I put both points into it, and I did, of course. So that is pretty nice because it means my rend ticks are going to be faster, and that's going to lead to a DPS increase. The other thing, so this is an example of how they took a talent that people weren't taking as much or just made a talent better, right? That's what they basically did here, is they made a talent better. They didn't do anything worse to it. Now, an interesting one that I want to point out is the Honor Among Thieves talent. Now, they changed it to where to get the original effect of it, you have to put every single point into it. I can only assume that this is not just a straight buff and that people were only putting 2 out of 3 into it, which would make sense to go for the 66% chance, but now they're forcing you to put that extra point into it if you want the full effect. However, they did kind of bandage it by saying, well, now, Honor Among Thieves increases your chance to get a critical strike with all spells and attacks by 1, 2, and 3%. That's really, really good, and I didn't show this in my earlier clip simply because I forgot. It's my only talent point in the subtlety tree, but I do have this. So this is a very interesting thing. I have an increased crit chance just because, and I really enjoy these nerfs. They really help me a lot. Rend Overpower was buffed, so what can I say? Okay, and that is Setis. That was a big clusterfuck. It took way too long, lots of random deaths, couldn't find enough healers, but we did it on the second try, and I'll definitely take that. And that's a Treasures of Azeroth. Never even had one of these before, but we will only open this when we open all of our other caches, so we'll have 6 at the end now, not 5, and that's pretty sick. It's time to roll on gear, and hopefully we can win some stuff. Yeah, it was MSOS, and every piece of gear that dropped was spellcaster loot, just caster loot in general, so I just left. I said, thanks for the group, guys, I'm done. Time to do other things, other dailies, get more chests. Let's do it. Okay, let's update this and check out that capstone stuff. I'm actually very interested to see the graphics of it in-game and see how it was implemented overall, and I just want to see it actually exist on my Trauma and my Honor of Thieves talent. And absolutely, check that out. Capstone bonus, your rend benefits from melee haste, which I believe is actually, that's fascinating. Melee haste means it will stack with slice and dice, as that is, well, that's melee attack speed. I think that might be different, but definitely from flurry, right? Melee attack speed. They might be all the same, but it's very interesting. If it does work with flurry and with slice and dice, then we have a pretty solid build for that indeed. And then I want to go ahead and look at Honor for Thieves. I'm very, very interested to see how that one came out. Increases your chance to get a critical strike with all spells and attacks by 3%. And let's see, I'm trying to look at my crit. 15% with the Griefer gear on. I guess it was 12% before. And then, of course, grants a combo point whenever you deal damage to your target. See, these are pretty interesting little bonuses. I really enjoy this. It's not overly complex. It's not on every single talent, but I find it very cool. So yeah, A+ for me. Very, very good change, I would say. And yeah, I am at, let's see, 3 Spoils of War, 2 of which are extraordinary Spoils of War. And then we have the big one in the bank. I have to put this in the bank. And I'm going to go and do another daily. It's the Highborn daily. I've done this like 10 times, but it keeps reappearing in my quest log, so I guess I can do it again. I'm going to go do it now, though. Nice. Okay, a couple more items from this run. We are done with this, and I'm going to go turn this in Everlook. But, yeah, we got the Bloody Fiery Retributor. I'm not sure if this is good, but it looks like a tank weapon, so who knows? It might actually be worth using for somebody. We also got a second Icy Chill enchant. Maybe it will end up being way cheaper on the AH than I thought. Let's hope not. And then I got a Bloody Hurley's Tankard. Obviously, this one looks the worst. It absolutely does not look very good, but it might at the very least be just 2 gold for free. 2 gold vendor trash, and I'll take that. And it looks like that world quest bugged. So we'll just have to hold it for next time it comes. Oh, I don't even think we can. I don't even think we can. I think we just have to get rid of it. Yeah, that's how it's going to work. It's not even there anymore. Alright, here's what I think we're going to do. We're going to go to the bank, and we're going to open up those 4 chests that we have. I think one of them being a Setis chest kind of makes up for the fact that it's not 5 total. But out of my world quests, there aren't really any options that I can do left today. I mean, there's the daily runecloth one, but none of my stuff has sold on the AH for me to be able to buy those. Somebody's selling packs of 15 when you need 20 for the quest, and they're doing that on purpose so that you always have to buy more than you need and they make more money. It's really, really scummy, so we'll have to see if more come on the AH in the first place. I'm just not going to buy into that. So the reason I set this goal for myself of doing dailies in the first place was so I could collect enough marks of Ascension to actually do some of these quests, the Dark Moon quests, that weren't just the standard shuffle the deck turn in. Now what I have access to is Luck of the Draw for 20. That gives me a straight up Scroll of Fortune, which I'm going to use in this video, as well as the Counting Cards one, which gives me 5 sealed cards. I believe these are abilities that I can have for free on new characters in the future, so hopefully we get good ones of that. And then, of course, we can still, I believe we can still shuffle the deck with what's left. What I want to do then is go ahead and let's grab that Scroll of Fortune. And now we can go ahead and count those cards. There we go. And finally, we can shuffle the deck and grab a Hand of Fate. What I'm going to do first is I'm just going to go ahead and roll. We haven't done a proper roll in a while, so I want to make sure we can end the video on a roll. So let's see. Let's pick an ability. I'm going to go ahead and decide on an ability that's not worth keeping, and I'll catch you guys when I figure it out. And I see it, guys. Arcane Missiles. I forgot I even had it. Let's go ahead and get rid of this and see what we can get. Is that stealth? It's not quite good for my build. We use Battle Stance, and it takes you out of Battle Stance when you do that. But, you know, maybe. I don't have any points in it, so people are going to be able to see me in it so easy. That's not exactly something I want to keep. Typically, stealth is something you can be excited about, but this time I just don't think it's enough. So let's go ahead and use the Hand of Fate. Maybe we'll get something and we can replace stealth for it. Multi-shot, defensive stance, and wrath.
No, God!
Multi-shot, that's something. I don't know if you can still put poisons on your ranged weapon, but if you can, that might be a way of proccing a poison, like a crippling poison, fairly easily. Let's see if that would work. It does not. It might just be instant poison. But let's go ahead and see. I don't think I want any of these no matter what, but maybe it'll replace something even worse. Yeah, not Flash Shield, not Victory Rush, not Blessing of Might. So we'll go ahead and take that out. And let's see how these work. I actually don't know how these work. These are brand new. They came out towards the end of my last playthroughs back in Season 4. So yeah, I guess I just click on it. Skill card, Totemic Recall. That is dog shit. That is awful. Okay, next one. Cleave. Oh god, Cleave is good. Cleave is good. The next one. Redemption, that's trash tier. Sunder Armor, maybe that's good. I don't know. Not for me though. Counterattack. Oh, okay. So interestingly enough, it looks like we have the makeup of a tank. Actually, maybe a 2H tank. That could actually work. Totemic Recall is just dog shit, and so is Redemption. But Sunder Armor, Counterattack, and Cleave, that could make for a solid 2H tank build. Cleave by itself. I could start maybe Eviscerate, Sinister Strike, and Cleave, and that can be quite better than Heroic Strike. And yeah, Counterattack and Sunder Armor by themselves, though, are not great. I'm going to go ahead and put all of this in my bank, and maybe you guys can tell me in the comments what I can actually do with this stuff. I'm going to go ahead and also put these bloody Worm Tongue Shoulders in the auction house. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's get these chests out. Extraordinary Spoils of War, number 1, and number 2, regular Spoils of War, and Treasures of Azeroth. And what are we going to get? I'm actually pretty excited for this. It's a shame we couldn't go for the full 5, but I have got to get this video out in a reasonable time frame. So, let's start with the smallest one. Okay, Opal Ring of Nature Resistance, not great. Polymorph, that might be worth something. And Soulbreaker, which is probably just vendor trash, but we can say we got about 5 gold from vendor trash. And you know what, before we open the other ones, let's see if this polymorph tome is worth anything. Nothing. 2 gold. So we're just going to vendor that too, making this a total of 7 gold. Alright? 7 gold. Let's go ahead and do the first extraordinary spoil of war. Okay, I see an epic. So I think it's Eshkinder's collar. Yeah, it is. So we have an Arcanite champion. Very interesting. This is the lesser of the two between the Arcanite Reaper, I believe. Let's see, how much is this pattern worth, if anything? None. So maybe it's worth something. I will see. We'll see. I don't know if anybody takes profession seriously. But then we have 34 silver, 50 silver. We have an RE here, but it's on an uncommon, so it's worthless. This is 3 gold in vendor trash. Worm tongue shoulders. That might be worth something. Is it soulbound? It is, but apparently I can make them bloody and make a pretty big profit. I'm going to actually make this bloody and see if I can grab 20G for it. So we'll say 20G off of that. And then bloody Eshkinder's, I think that's how you say it, Eskandar's collar. Alright, let's see how much that is worth. I think I've even sold one of those before. There we go. It looks like, to me, I'm just going to undercut it. And it should be about, we'll say 75 gold worth. Alrighty. Not too bad at all. Now let's do another extraordinary spoil of war. But before we do that, let's see how much money we've made off of vendor trash. So we have 2.5, we have 4, 8, 9, and then we'll say 10 overall. So 10G off of vendor trash, possibly about 75. We could even say 85 and maybe 105 gold off of auction house stuff. And we still have 2 more to go. Let's do another extraordinary. Holy shit. Holy fuck. Oh, I thought this was probably worth a lot more. I will take it. It's a mount. I got a mount from it. Prestigious Warwolf. That's freaking awesome. I thought it was going to be worth more. It looks like you can get it for 59G on the auction house, which is just crazy to me. But yeah, I'll take it for free any day. We also got Woolies of the Prancing Minstrel. Or Minstrel. This one's only interesting because of the RE. I'm just curious to see if anybody would buy that RE. So what would that be called? Okay, it's the uncommon Mana Forged. So let's see, Mana Forged. Looks like the uncommon can go as low as 2 gold. I could probably pick that up, and I don't think anybody really wants this. So I'm going to vendor this for the 3 gold that I can get it for. And then we got the Kentic Amis, and that's another gold. I don't think anybody's going to want that. I will check. Yeah, I could maybe... Nobody really wants this, though. These are just people that are desperate, hoping somebody will buy it. It's not really great. I'm going to throw it on the auction house anyway. We'll throw it up there for 5 gold. And then we have another, basically 2 gold in vendor trash. This brings our 10 gold total of vendor trash to 14.5 gold. And then we're going to make around 140 gold from the auction house. Let's go ahead and open the last one, the best one, the Treasures of Azeroth. What is it going to be? I'm already disappointed. I'm already disappointed because this was supposed to be the biggest one, and it looks like it's the crappiest haul. So we have 2 gold of vendor trash, and then we got the Tome of Knowledge. This is interesting. It's an offhand. It gives 8 strength, agility, stam, intellect, spirit. Increases the effect of my pyroclasm by 2%. I believe that is a fire mage talent. And of course, increases healing and spell damage done by 5%. Let's go ahead and see if anybody's looking for this right now. Yeah, there's one on the auction house for 5 gold. It has probably not as good of an RE, but I'm not really sure how good the Pyroclasm RE is either. So, let's go ahead and check and see. So there we go, Pyroclasm, and now let's look that up on the auction house. Yeah, it's not worth anything. So the best one was actually the crappiest haul. So we have about 16 gold in vendor trash and 140 gold made in things from the auction house, and a mount. We can't forget that. Let's go ahead and look at that bad boy. I'm going to equip that. That's really cool to get that for free. Nice. Prestigious Warwolf. There we go. Now all we need is epic writing. I don't know how long that one's going to take, but this is beautiful. This is just gorgeous. Okay, guys, that's going to be the end of this episode. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like and subscribe, but I will see you guys in the next video. Mcdoubles out.